King. Sir King. Sir King. Sir King.
Canvas.
Sir King. Sir King. Sir King. Sir King.
Okay, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing well. It's almost Friday, so I made it through the week. If you don't mind, feel free to thumbs up the live. It'd be tremendously appreciated. So we're gonna talk about a couple of things. I don't think this is gonna be a long live because I don't really see. There has not been a lot that's caught my interest in the YouTube streets. I have been distracted by what's going on in the real world, dealing with the economy and the president and so forth. So yeah, sometimes you gotta stay focused and disciplined. What's up, Black Pearl? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting ready for the weekend. Thank you for being here. So let's get into it. So y'all, I've been really like y'all know I go to the gym and stuff, but it be sometimes I just don't want to be going in the morning because sometimes it make for when you go in the morning, it make for a long day. By the time midday come, you drowsy, and sometimes at night it'd be complicated because there's so much traffic and all that stuff. So I was really talking to God. I was talking to the universe. I was like, I really want to work out like more and more. So I think I found a way I could do it. I think the ghetto gym stays open later. So I think I'm gonna go to the hood gym. I'm gonna go to the hood gym. And I went tonight. It was cool. And I could envision myself doing that. I really can. Cause I just feel like I want to work out more, but sometimes I can't work out. I can't work out way early in the morning, and that be the start. It feel great to go to the gym at the beginning of the day, but man, you be paying for it by 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock. You be wanting to take a nap. So I feel if I could get this in at the hood gym, then that'll be cool. So I'll let you know how that goes. That's my goal for the because I feel like I wanna work out more, but time is just so limited. So that's my plan because I was thinking about it, how I'm gonna do that. Okay. So next time we'll talk about this whole listen, y'all. I ain't never seen nothing like this ever in my life. I don't think nobody's ever seen what's going on with the White House and the president in the way that was so bold. What's up, Sarah Van? How you doing? Was so bold because we got this whole tariff situation, and he was putting tariffs on people here, there, everywhere, and all that stuff, and it really threw the economy in disarray because that's cost that people weren't anticipating to pay, right? So what happened was the stock market started tanking. People 401k started getting messed up, everything. Now I think there were three factors that made Trump change his mind. Now they're gonna sit up and say, "Oh, he thought about it this weekend." That's bull. There's three factors. One, I think there were people, very powerful, rich people, who came out publicly and spoke against what he was doing was going to push us immediately in a recession. Okay. So he had those people who were really close to him hit him up saying, "Yo, what's going on? You can't do this. This is making me cost money." Da, da, da. The two, there was something else they need this vote. I felt that some of those Republicans who were knew that they had to come back home to their constituents um, and deal with their anger, got in his ear and says, "You know what? We're not going to vote for this budget." They had something they just voted on that a Republican majority to pass through this budget that he wanted. If not, then it would become more complicated and would have to deal with more Democrats and stuff like that. So I felt he was threatened that way. And then three, something about the bond market. I'm not too good. I'm not too sure about the bond market, but this whole thing about the bond market and how the bond market was unstable and he was causing it, and that really caused him to come up with this plan. And this plan was to sit up here and say that he gonna pull the tariffs off or they'll put a pause to tariffs in 3 months. And I felt like that was a play because he knew the stock market was waiting for any good news. And everything went up. Everything went up. Everything went up. The dude was on what's that called? That site. Hold on. What's the name of that site? Truth Social, where he got his own Twitter account. So if you want to stay abreast of what Trump is doing, look at Truth Social. And he said that they was telling people to buy now, and this that, which is insider trading, but to buy now. So if you listen to him, you would have bought then, and then I guess you would have made a profit, depending on that. But imagine all those people who bought as the prices were going up, only to have the stuff come down today. Now let me tell you something. This is the play. I felt like they pulled Elon, everybody, all them billionaires who were hurt, and said, "Okay, give the internet." The Wall Street is waiting for some good news. Because mind you, there was a rumor that the White House was going to come out with a reduced tariff plan, and then they said, "Oh no, that's fake news." And I told y'all that. I said, anytime somebody release something and they deny it, it's going to be a hint of the truth. It's going to be a hint of the truth. And sure enough, it was. What's up, the Christian gentleman? How you doing? Thank you for being here as well. Watanya Jones, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Detached. Thank you for always being here and being a wonderful moderator. The Queen Bee for You Reacts, how you doing? Thank you for being here as well. So, like I was saying, when they do that, there always a hint of truth, right? And it was. It was just they were thinking about the maybe minimizing, and well, pretty much what happened was if you didn't retaliate against the U.S. with the tariffs, then you will only have to pay 10% tariff, and now it's paused for 90 days. Um, while they can work something out with your country, but China does not get that same consideration, and they got 154% tariff on them. I was like, damn. And he's trying to bully China into, I guess, acquiescing to his demands. But if you know anything about China, China don't like to be punked. They don't like to be. Now they may do something in the background, but to publicly punk them is the wrong way to go. And let me tell you who may get messed up in all this. Elon. Elon may be the one that's get all messed up on this because Elon's major production of his Teslas are over there in Shanghai or wherever they build them at. Who else might get messed up in this? Nike, but they moving they stuff to Vietnam. Who a lot of people, I mean, and then I heard as I was coming on, I don't know if it's true, they said Trump go delist all the China stocks. I was like, wow, I'm like, y'all just doing enough. So then this is another thing. So they played the okey doke with the people. They got the people to got the price to go up. Now, if you're a billionaire, you love that because you heard and sold it because you know this economy is about was already in the tank before he even mentioned anything about this whole tariff plan, right? But I just think this tariff plan caught so many people off guard. They said when that man showed that chart, when he showed that chart during that press conference, that's when everybody was like, "Oh, this man for real." So I say all that to say the stock market was already doing bad before he issued this. So then people would like realize, oh yeah, he pausing it, but he still may do it 3 months down the road. And then on top of that, he's messing with China. So that caused the stock market now that went up, people to lose it. And the crazy thing about it is the people lost what they got the night before. They lost in the middle of the night because you can't trade in the middle of the night. You only could really trade during the day. So it wasn't like, oh, let me hurry and get my stuff out. By the time they had got their stuff out, it was like almost back to where it was. So, mm-hmm. What's up, Cheryl Burnett? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So yeah, so they ran a play on the people. It's the craziest thing I ever seen. But what that shows you now, which we have never seen before, so blatantly, right, is that he's willing to manipulate the markets. But on top of that, you can't trust him. Like now, people gonna come in. I can't trust this dude. Like my mindset is I'm not leaving money in the market overnight. I mean, over the weekend. I'm not leaving no money over the weekend because you don't know what the hell going. You don't know what's going to happen. Everything cool, calm on Friday, which is not going to be. But you come back Monday and like we don't know what was going to go on. So he put a lot of distrust in a lot of people's like brain. Just how you gonna put on your social media application by now, then the market tank. Like, so I'm just saying, be careful. What's the breaking news? I got you know what? I know this Devi, but she always coming in the middle of something will think that she entitled or whatever. But she do a decent job to report the news. So I'm gonna give her the breaking news. But it ain't no breaking news. It's a breaking news that the economy is about to tank down. But in regard to the YouTube streets, I think that Nika met Pizarro. And I just thought about this because I've been thinking about this. And I've been like, why in the world does Nika allow Pizarro to disrespect her? Now, mind you, the only other person that she allowed to play her face like that is Ken. Like really playing her face is Ken. And you two, Ken, you might say, what? Ken and Pizarro? You know why? Because Ken is from New Orleans or wherever, Louisiana. Allegedly, there's a rumor that Pizarro is from the same place or has some connection or reside there. I don't dox, I don't know. But that's the rumor that's been spread around the YouTube streets. So that put two and two together as to why Nika allows Pizarro to do what she does to her. There was a whole thing about Rodney and all that, and she don't allow nobody else to do that to her. And I said, you know what? Nika probably done seen this girl in real life and what she looked like. So that's my breaking news. Now moving on back to the economy. Yeah, so it's getting scary out here, and they saying that it's not going to be now. And another thing was Jamie Dimon, who's the head of J.P. Morgan, went on camera and started saying, "If you do this, Donald Trump, you're gonna put us in a recession." So who say that unless he know that we're gonna almost be in one anyway? So yeah, so it's a lot going on. So that's my take on the economy, pretty much. Just be careful. That's what I can say. No, but people can move. People can move. People can move. Don't you gotta think a layer ahead. You gotta think a layer ahead. People can move. She could have moved. She could have not been from there. She could have moved there. Just think about that. What's up? What's up? Hold on. Somebody said, what's up? That's the A B C D E F G. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I got to say about that. I just feel like Trump has put a lot of uncertainty into the market that wasn't there before. He's shown his willingness to deviate from the normal protocol and decorum that presidents have exhibited when dealing with the stock market. And then on top of that, you can't even trust that no more because they're willing to play with your money. So yeah, and then we don't even know how these tariffs are going to impact us directly because they haven't hit yet. Amazon set up and said canceled a whole bunch of stuff. Timu, if y'all like Timu and all that, they said Timu said what they said. Timu, they gonna delist Timu. Timu was made by Pinduo or something. So that's one of the companies that they said they made blacklist. But I don't know. I heard that was a rumor. But if they're gonna do that, then the China gonna start delisting American companies. And like I said, the main person over there who need to look out is Elon. Elon gonna get his behind. Ooh, Elon. They already downgraded his company because his company is so dependent on China making the parts and all that other stuff. So it's a interesting thing. If anybody know anything about the Chinese people, they don't like to be mocked publicly and disrespected. So and Trump keeps doing that. So that's my take on that. Look into it is very interesting, but it's also very scary at the same time. So we shall see. All right, what else we talk about? We talked about the gym. We talked about they ran a play. Jay Wilson be lying. Okay, so the other two things that's on the agenda is Jay Wilson be lying. I feel Jay Wilson lying about that whole thing about here the reason why he's changing directions. I really think he don't really think the people around here are very smart. I think he think people are stupid that he deals with on a majority. Now he came around today and says, "Ooh, I had a long day. I was the meeting, and I was shaking so many hands, and I had to put the sanitizer. Ooh, and I had so much food. Ooh, and I almost blew up like Porky Pig." So I'm like, yo, that's not like. First of all, you know what this area gives. So why are you telling people that like, unless you want them to target that. Sound like this fool sound like he was at a job fair. I honestly, it sounded like he was at a job fair, shaking hands with people to get a job, and they had food at the job fair. So much food that he almost blew up like Porky Pig. That's what I'm really taking from that. And he was like, they're happy with me, and I'm happy with them. And I'm like, dude, you just sitting up here lying. So I don't believe that whole shenanigans. I feel he in a job hunt. That's what I feel. That's what I honestly feel. And somebody said that. Numerous people told me that that man is looking for a job. So I don't know. It just don't. It's just you don't move the way he moving. You don't move like that. You just if you've been. Let me tell you something. If you've been promoted to the C-suite, okay, you ain't gonna tell nobody over here, and you sure as hell gonna shut down your channel because if you promoted to the C-suite, you are making for most companies, you are making over 100K. So I know your YouTube channel, and then on top of that, you probably get a per diem or spending allowance or whatever they call it, spending allowance. So and probably a car allowance. So that wouldn't even compare to your monthly YouTube check. You strapped up for cash that bad, you can't let YouTube go. It's just not making sense to me. It's just not making sense to me. So, and then I turned it off because I'm like, bro, you over here lying. Like you just straight up lying, playing these people, and then you baiting them pretty much to find where you work at. Because why are you sitting up here telling people about your job and now he's talking about, oh, tell me about your life and tell me about your struggles and what? So you could throw up in their face 5 months from now? Anyway, that's what's happened over there. He talking about oh people hitting him up because people are unsubscribing and all. That's not, but well, that's not what they came there for. You doing a complete 360 and you expect them to stay? Like I said, that's like Jay-Z, a rapper, going into um country. Now I know Beyonce did it, but imagine if Jay-Z did it. No, 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 no. Sorry, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. What's up, Madame Scorpio? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. There's gonna be a drop in numbers, right? There's gonna be a drop in people who buy your albums. So the same thing. The same thing. All right. So the next thing we'll talk about is Brianna. Stay on mute. So I guess Rick Reed is out here threatening Brianna, telling her that he wants her to say something else, that he'll really drag her. I guess she threw shade at him or something like that, and he didn't like it. So he was like, "Oh, say something else, Brianna. Say something else, and I'll drag you up and down these streets." So I guess Brianna gonna stay on mute. So I see it. She don't want that. She don't want that smoke because they all. It's weird. They got that whole cliquish thing over there. I don't know. I don't know how close they are, but we'll see if Brianna will say something. Okay, and then like I said, I honestly feel like Nika has seen Pizarro. It may not be breaking news, but I feel like just like Pizarro has shown herself to Brianna, I feel like Nika has seen the same person or whatever you want to call it, a troll, because she allowed her to get away with a lot. Let me tell you something: you don't allow nobody that you ain't never seen exert that much control and tell you and talk to you that way. Only way though, the only way that you allow that to happen is if you're able to form a tangible bond, and that tangible bond is what allegedly she roams around in the bowels of the swamps of Louisiana. And the second one thing is that I guess she now lives there or was there. I don't know. That's what people are saying. So that's the only way. And I know Nika. Nika don't let nobody just disrespect them, like disrespect her. And I always had to say, why is she letting this troll that she ain't never seen that like, and then it just for some reason it just clicked for me today when I heard all the information. I'm like, oh, okay, she probably met with her and all that other stuff. So that's my 2 cents. All right, y'all. That's my bro. I told you it'll be quick. That's what I got. Feel free to hit the link. I'm gonna drop the link. Feel free to hit the link and tell us what you think. Please tell us at the live. It'd be tremendously appreciated. I appreciate y'all being here. That's pretty much what's going on. I mean, to be honest, I know y'all like this foolery on here, but y'all really need to be paying attention to what that dude doing. That man is bold. That man don't give a damn. I also like I'm just saying there's some things that I'm seeing like I'm telling y'all I'm not even putting that man. I ain't putting that man name in none of my videos. I am gonna speak about him very clandestinely because he going after people. He taking away visa. What do you say? He's taking away the visas of the people who protest and all this stuff, who are college students and all that. So just imagine if he and they scour in social media to figure out what people have said. So just imagine like you sitting up here now, present day, critiquing him, and then he come back and say, "Oh, I want everybody that said something." And I want to, and then on top of that, he talking about sending some of the criminals here in America to Venezuela. Like what? We got somebody coming to the stage. What's up, Urban? How you doing?
The king of late night. What's
Oh,
going on, big dog?
a lot in the world. How about you? Hey, Miss Magnificent, how you doing?
Yeah, that's an understatement. There's definitely in the world, yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. I was listening to your commentary on the economy and what's going on. Greetings, everyone out there in the chat. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
they ran a
what do you
play,
think?
Urban. They ran a play. His billionaire buddies were freaking out. He says, "Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then you can get your money real quick." Dropping things back down. I was like, "Wow."
Yeah, right. This is a segue to, the last time I popped up and I talked about how, you know, for the for the most significant years before he stepped into the office, that he was known for TV, right, for
Mm,
his show. So, which means he focuses on ratings, right, popularity, he pays attention to that. So he's gotten to that frame of mind of, what's popular, what are my ratings, how are people viewing me, and so obviously, he's in that club, the billionaires club, and so is just like anyone who you network with, right? Anyone who's within your circle, you're going to make phone calls, So people obviously picked up the phone and said, "Hey, man," people that he knows, so come on, man. Let's first of all, we need to be talking about making some money. So let's put that one up first.
hmm.
So you need to hook us up because we supported you, and I think it started there. Um, and man, my 401k, you know, took a hit big time,
Yeah, I think everybody
but
for
yeah.
Woo!
But from a business perspective, you know, you buy low.
Oh yeah,
So yeah, this is an
yeah.
opportunity. This is an opportunity out there. Get yourself in a business frame of mind and start thinking of, wealthy people think from perspective of how can I make money off of this. So a tanked economy is an amazing opportunity. I mean, the stock market went up. Was it over 2,000%? Something 2,000 points.
Yeah.
So
It was way inflated, and it kind of priced a lot of people out to some degree, right? Because you're paying prices for companies that weren't even deserving of that valuation. So, like Urban said, this is the time to get in. But the
yeah, if
thing
you have
is,
some money stashed away. right? It's usually the wealthy that make money when things go when chaos erupts, which
Mm-hmm.
is buddies. But you have a little bit of money stashed away. This is the perfect opportunity to potentially become wealthy, depending on how much money you have to move around.
Yeah.
Um, but when you hear about chaos in the market, start looking to where you can slide in there and make a come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
But
be trying to tell them, but they don't. I don't know. And then on top of that, Urban, you gotta know what you're doing too. So
yeah,
you gotta know what you're
that-
doing.
that's what I like about your platform. Since I popped up, I love the way that you educate your followers. I liken you to a pastor,
Oh
right?
Lord,
Uh,
ah,
hold on,
not
hold
that
on,
one, not
hold
that
on.
one. They, they so
Hold
sensitive.
on. Let me explain. So, you have a community, right? You absolutely have a community. Avatar Nation is a community, and you're the leader of that community. And very similar to a church, and you take your leadership roles. You have you take your you put uh, emphasis on being a leader, right, and responsibility into what type of content you put out, what you're releasing to the public, because you don't have to. You could just do F stuff all day long, right? And I think you're the originator of the drunk panels, and
I don't know.
you know what I mean. And I think that did that did well for you. But there's pros and then there's cons in relation to that. And I heard you talk about how you look at your future, you look at your legacy, and when you sat back and listened, it resonated with you as to how am I looking here. As men, we have to be cognizant of how we look. Men are the ones out here building the skyscrapers and the buildings and uh, creating things, innovating things. Men are the leaders of our society. Every great society, you have great men. So wherever you fall in along that, um, there's a responsibility for men to do some introspective looking at how you appear to society, how you will be known, what you will be known for, and what you want as a man to be known for. And I think, for us, for African American men, a lot of African American men who don't have good mentors, who don't come from families where fathers or the men in their lives are pushing them to do better, pushing them for excellence. And they struggle with having any kind of legacy at all. So I salute you for um, being responsible with your content, and trying to educate your people.
Well, I appreciate that, Irving. Thank you. I just felt like there what you said was spot on. I did listen to lives, and broadcasts are megaphones, and they're megaphones to thousands. So if I don't like what was being broadcasted, not necessarily about me, but what I allow to be broadcasted, that sends the wrong message sometimes. So um, I could tolerate
Mhm.
that every once in a while, but that was becoming too frequent. And when it becomes too frequent, it's thinking that you are supportive of it, or you you know, you don't
And it's
mind
about
it.
exactly your environment. What are you the nucleus of? What kind of people are surrounding you?
Mhm.
And I think in society, oftentimes people don't think about, they don't think too closely about their inner circle. Go ahead, second. What were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say anything.
Oh, your circle. I always preach that your circle of friends, like the people that are closest to you. Sit back and think about this is for everyone in the audience. Just kind of sit and contemplate on your five closest friends. Who are the people that are closest to you? The ones that have direct access to you. And take a look at their lives. Are they bringing you chaos and drama? Uh, or are they elevating you? Are they pushing you? You should have a circle of friends that are pushing you to do better. You should have a circle of friends around you. They're gonna say, "Hey, man, let me talk to you real quick. This isn't looking good, man." Somebody that can pull on your collar and say, "Hey, let me help you out here." Um,
Well, over here, if you do that, they call it a hater.
yeah, maturity and black men often suffers because of lack of fathers, right? And you don't necessarily have to have birthed a child to be a father figure, but in the black community, father figures is crushing us. That's why I'm an advocacy for those types of things. That's part of what I integrate all that in my life. Between my corporate job and my military responsibilities, I'm a huge advocate of being a father figure and trying to raise up our young men, to seek excellence. Um, so, um,
No, I agree. I concur with all that you say.
yeah. So, what do you think, man? Did you make some money?
I know how to make money. Well, if you listen to my broadcast, I say it's put season, so it's put season.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
until
Absolutely.
until he flips the switch. But I still then don't think. I mean, even if they were to say, okay, 0% tariffs on China, 0% tariffs on everybody, you still got to deal with the recession. You still got to deal with inflation,
Hmm.
and the recession. Um,
So,
so
I remember talking. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't mean to
no,
interrupt
no,
you.
no, no.
So, I remember talking to the last time I popped in about him folding, right, from pressure, right, from the public perception. So,
But there was three things though. There were three things that I think they presented to him that look, you got this agenda, but this is what's happening that's going to prevent you from achieving your goals and your agenda. So the three things was what? The tariffs. They didn't
hmm
expect the tariff situation to happen. The bond
hmm
market, the bond auction, which was today. And
hmm
then what was the third one? Oh, that vote for the budget. So I felt like he was like, all right, let me give them what they want a little bit, but not promise them what they want.
hmm
And then with the way he did what he did, he only needed to vote for the day, right? Yesterday. And then the bond market, that was okay because of what he did, which caused the stock prices to go up. So, and then on top of that, he didn't really promise it. He just paused it.
Yeah. So, do you think that? How do you perceive? So, I mentioned this before a million times on your platform. You have the president, you have the office of the president, and the president has all these people that surround him, right? So, do you think that? So he has all these advisors, right? And one thing I noticed is that the advisors that he has now are subservient. These aren't old school, you know.
He
These aren't.
has, yeah, he has to go urban. He don't want nobody around him that protests him, right? And
Mhm,
that's what kind of caught him off guard. That kind of pushed him to do that pause. That people were coming at him. But they
mhm.
didn't come at him to defy him. They came at him with, okay, we understand what you're doing, but we need you to somewhat change it or delay it so that you can get what you want still, but also so that you don't crater our economy.
Exactly. Like Elon Musk is taking a huge hit. He's just one
Mhm.
person taking a huge hit, but his plan falls along with this whole the Great Reset,
Right.
right? So I
Mhm.
think there's people in his ear that are. I think he has conflicting people in his ear. So an old Republican stance, an old conservative stance is that we need to remake society, Okay, so you look at it at his agenda when he first was elected, and look at all his executive orders. It was, you know, there's only one, there's only two sexes, and he continued, down the line of all these conservative talking points. Um, and so this whole crashing everything and getting rebuilding society. He wants to rebuild a great new American society, going back to when we were kings of industrial, right? Where
Well,
we manufactured
I,
things. And
I
so,
honestly feel that I honestly feel he trying to push cryptocurrency in. I honestly feel that. Like I really do feel that. Cause why do that to your own country? Like the money is fleeing. Like people don't want to invest. They were trying to find other countries that they say are more safe to invest in.
well, Trump comes from an era of where America was, if you use this whole phrase he uses, make America great again. You look at the heyday of Ford, look at the heyday of all the motor companies. You look at, U.S. Steel. We're talking before NAFTA. If anyone doesn't understand NAFTA, you may have to Google it. But he wants to restore, America to this great power. But culture has shifted, man.
Right.
If you look at the youth today, they are looked from my generation. People were focused on, man, you got to get a good education, you got to get some credentials, and you got to, push hard to be a success, but primarily through education. Um, and your life revolves around a career, right? A traditional career. We are in the technological renaissance.
Mhm.
People, that are in their 20s now, you know what they're looking to do as a career? Be a social media influencer. That's everybody's goal. Not be a doctor or an attorney or, the CEO. They want to, be a social media. So culture has changed dramatically. And uh, Trump's still stuck in that, that old era. And he's trying to restore that old era because they feel like that old era was when America was at its best. But go ahead.
No, I agree with you, but it's just called, like you said, stuck in the past. It's just like, yo, what's like he mentioned Cadillac. When the last time you seen a Cadillac on the road? Like an Escalade, but that's about it. Like, come on, man. Like, really? So
Yeah.
I don't
Culture has shifted so much. He needs some younger people around him. But culture has shifted. I mean, it's dramatic how much our culture has shifted.
I agree. You're right. It ain't no offense to my older people, but you're true. It is a lot of older people around him. Like,
Mm. Um, I mean, just the era that we're in. And I was watching a video where China has no, and they call it this, no person factories,
mm,
only robots in the factory.
mm,
Not to say, I was going to send you the video clip. So there's an automotive manufacturer in China, and I saw a video clip of where it almost looked cartoonish, where the robots are just busy building cars from scratch. Like that's the era that we're in.
mm.
Uh, you know, Technology moves. This is the dangers of where we are. There's positives and there's negatives, but the dangers of where we are. Technology moves faster than what we think. So once you invite it into all of every aspect of our society, we can't think fast enough. If you just take a look on YouTube at how many AI channels are popping up, and they're stealing people's voices, they're stealing people's images. So if you have a popular voice or a popular image, they're stealing that, and they're creating all these. I think YouTube will probably eventually rethink their whole acceptance of AI because I've seen channels that, for example, just to use a random name, Kevin Samuels. I've seen channels that have stolen his AI channels have stolen his whole voice, plug it into an AI system, and say, "Hey, create me a channel just like Kevin Samuels using his voice." That's what's going on. So they're replicating all these popular channels. But once you introduce, this total acceptance of reliance on technology, Our society is dramatically shifting. Men are moving away from women, real relationships. It's easier for men to do this. Women are a lot more emotional than us, but men are moving away from physical relationships and just getting an AI girl or comfortable with going to OnlyFans. So there's a dramatic shift going on in our society that is massive. There's a massive shift in our society going on right now.
Mm. It's scary. I know it's scary. And then I was watching a 60 Minutes interview. It was old, but I think about a year old. It was talking about AI and the models and stuff. And they were saying the people, the scientists, were saying, "Oh, we don't know how that. We don't know how it works." They just put like, I guess they just put it together, and they're like, "Oh, it just that's what it came up with." And I'm like, "What? How you? What you mean you don't know how it works?" So I always wonder, like, did we make contact with an alien species and it is lending us technology that we're using?
So when they said they didn't know how it works, what were they referring to? What didn't they
They
know?
how it was able to process the information and come up with the behavior. Like I think it had a couple of AI. How would you call them? Just like when you chat GPT, right?
Right.
But one of them was a woman named Cindy, I think,
Hmm.
and she went rogue or something, and she was really mean and nasty.
Okay.
And what they did was they're feeding these models information, and one of them was named Cindy, and they was like, well, how did she become so mean? And the other ones were copacetic, and they, oh, we don't know.
Hmm.
What you mean you don't know? So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a danger area, because if you look at so they're saying that everything in nature, has a numerical value, and that value keeps coming up over and over and over again. The universe, the galaxy, everything is connected to numbers. So, when you're a programmer, I'm not a programmer, but I have a decent amount of knowledge about technology because I've had to deal with it most of my career. But you're dealing with numbers, and so we're kind of playing with elements of the universe that we don't really understand, right? When you start talking about technology and how it's woven into the fabric of our society, and trying to replicate humanity,
Mm, mm,
right? Because these technologists like Elon Musk and his buddies, they want to live forever, and that's the pattern that they're on. How can I
right.
live forever? Um, and so they've woven that into this whole path that they're on. But you have to ask yourself, so what I want people to think about is, so the human mind can only think at a certain pace, and some people are naturally smarter than others, right? And so if you have a gift in business and technology, um, if you're more gifted than others, then you become a billionaire, right? Um, those who are the best, usually rise to the top. But when you introduce AI, it thinks faster than us. It thinks faster than the best billionaire that you can think of. And so the playing field is evened out and it gets replicated at such a dramatic rate. Things just grow, exponentially. And so advancements uh, are at a light speed. You see what I'm saying? So when you start interjecting technology into our society, things start rapidly accelerating. Look how quickly time is passing.
Mhm.
So the danger there is when it comes to businesses. If I can use AI to come up with the next business idea, then it changes the playing field versus using your own mind to think about what the next innovations are, what the next advancements will be. AI, does that a million times of what the human mind can possibly think. Uh, so everything from spacecraft to um, business advancements. Grocery stores are now using AI as far as purchasing, right? So what they're doing is they're monitoring what customers. This is something that a person did before, but at a much slower rate. At a much slower rate. So now grocery stores are using AI to tell them how to price items, so they know within a second. Within seconds, they know what we're selling the most, and so we need to sell more of this, or we need to jack the price up on this. So when you go to the grocery store, you'll see these price fluctuations, like the prices of eggs or the prices of some random item seem to shoot up. So the technology moves at a faster rate than our brain. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. They tried that. Wendy's tried that. What restaurant tried that? Wendy's tried it. What I think they call it like wait price something, where the board would change depending on the demand of the item or the time of day or something like that. But it didn't go too well.
You lost me. I didn't hear what you said.
It was something like I think Wendy's may have tried this where they called it some kind of I forget the name of it, but they tried it to where depending on the time of day, the board that you purchase your food from, it would
Hmm.
change. So if something was in high demand,
Oh
I guess.
yeah, exactly. That's AI. That's AI, and they're thinking for you about how you can make more money. And we live in you know we live in a society, in America, it's all about the dollar. So think about what the future will be like when AI is doing all the business thinking. Uh,
I just think there will be a revolt. There'll be a revolt because one thing that AI does not have, it does not have that intangible human component.
right, it's strictly business. It doesn't matter about. So when it comes to layoffs, right? When it comes to layoffs, executives, we have there's a human interface there, but with AI, the compassion is not there, right? So if you
Mhm.
run an AI program, says, okay, we need to cut costs, we need to save money, and I want our sales to go up, 10,000%. That's exactly what AI is going to do. Close all these stores, fire all these people, yada yada yada. And if you listen to what I just said, think about what Elon is doing. Think about the government agencies that have been shut down. Do you see the correlation
Mhm.
of shutting all these agencies down without
Right.
even without even
So,
batting an eye?
so what's the correlation when you have a tanking economy, right? Due to job loss, because that is what the Fed is waiting on to lower interest rates. Yeah, it'll say, okay, well, we're looking at inflation, right? That's one barometer, whether or not they'll cut it. But the main one is if the labor market begins to crack, right? That's the two things they're looking at is the interest rate and the employment numbers.
Hmm.
So that's not something that AI is taking into account. Yeah, okay, you're being efficient and saying you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. But then in turn, you're pulling money out of the economy in a way because now less people are being able to purchase things
Hmm.
and stimulate the economy and keep the economy flowing while some company keeps the money that they're saving in their coffers. So is AI doing that kind of, analysis? So
Yeah. Well, it's interesting to think about the future because if you noticed, I don't know if anybody else has ever noticed it, but have you ever heard this term, a living wage?
hmm a
Where
ways just to get by, yeah.
well, they're talking about giving all people in America a living wage,
Right,
right?
and yeah, then they probably don't know what anarchy looks like then, right?
But it's basically like a gigantic, social services. But if you have, so think about the future. If you have most of the important jobs, high paying jobs done by AI, what's left for people to do?
That's what I'm
E-
saying, you're destroying you're
even menial jobs like Uber, they're
but
already working on robotic drivers. But go ahead.
urban they're forgetting the essence of humanity in the sense of we. as humans, some of us want to strive for the best that we can be.
Hmm.
So you're taking that away, that motivation that may keep somebody a civil citizen rather than a detriment to society.
Right. So pause that. Put a pin in that. So put a pin in that. That's where you see these movies that come about, like The Matrix, right? Anarchy against the machines,
Hmm.
right? You look at Isaac Asimov. I talked about him on your platform, a science fiction writer. He wrote I, Robot. There has long been conversations about humanity versus the machine.
Well, that's what's gonna happen. Okay. 'Cause I'm
And
telling you,
the people
they underestimate humans. I'm just telling you, like they really
yeah,
are. They really are. You think you gonna take somebody's job and they're gonna be okay with it, and then say, okay, here's 4.25 a day, so you can eat some ramen noodles, a hot dog, and bread.
right. And
No.
what did you see happen in the Matrix? They fought against it. What did you see happen in the movie The Terminator? Humanity fought against it. And so for a long time, this has been the prediction that, we kind of write our own script. I have this theory that our subconscious is plugged into the universe. And so when you see all these movies, these sci-fi movies, it's coming from our subconscious, which is already plugged into the universe, which is foretelling the future.
Mm. We'll,
So
we'll
kind
see.
of like,
We'll see. Hopefully we'll see. We'll see. Because I'm just telling you, like if you watch that movie Megan, I always tell people watch the movie Megan. Watch the movie Megan. That movie was so telling about how they use technology today to raise the children, the iPad,
mhm,
and then on top of that, then tell the technology to be self-adaptive.
mhm,
And then
mhm.
when it's self-adaptive, it learns how to preserve itself. And when you try to destroy it, it's still lingering around.
and
So,
and to replicate
right.
itself, fix its errors on the spot. All that goes along with what I'm just saying. The movies, The Terminator, The Matrix.
Mm.
What's the other movie? Resident Evil. All of this is like foretelling, where our future can go. My question is what can humanity do to because we're so focused on money? Uh, how do we put a plug in it?
Um, have a natural disaster. Or I have a disaster because I'm serious because that will be the only thing that causes us to come together as a society.
But what a lot of these movies predict is us going back to the dark ages. Look at the Thunderdome. What was that movie with the heck was her name? Tina Turner. What was that movie called?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What was that movie called?
Maybe
Uh,
Babylon something. I don't know.
but what a lot of these sci-fi movies predict is that, well, like Resident Evil, is we've gone. Just look at if you ever seen the movie Resident Evil. If you look what happens in that movie, you have society has destroyed itself, right? And people are back to living hand to hand. What you can find. You know, what you may possibly be able to grow, what you can steal from your neighbors,
Mm,
going all the way back to prehistoric days of survival, because technology got to the rate where it destroyed everything. So what you're saying is in line with that. Is that reverts things back to the dark ages of where man is just trying to find his way, the best way he can, before any kind of advancements in society.
yeah,
That's why I say it's important to do things like learn how to grow food.
mhm,
I talk about my grandmother who had a garden all of her days. Simple things to grow like potatoes, you know, greens. Learning how to identify plants as a little boy, my grandmother used to take me into the woods and show me different plants. You can eat this, you can eat that. That doesn't happen anymore. Most people, if you ask, so back in the day, pretty much anybody could. I'm talking about back during the Civil War. Nowadays, it pretty much any man could tell you how to grow something or could tell you how to build a house. Pick any random guy today. Let's just use the beef sector, for example. Pick a person and say, hey, tell me how I want to start growing my own food, or I want to build my own house. And what do you think the response would be as far as, tell me how to do
Better ask your daddy. That's what they would say. I'm serious. I'm serious. It's just they wouldn't be able to tell you nothing. And if it was, you better wonder where it came from and why they told you. Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
that's what happens. So even like, you know, when technology jumps in, and this goes along with what you said, is ask your father, is we start losing things over from generation to generation, right? So if you notice that we don't use cursive writing, they don't use cursive writing anymore. Have you noticed if the more you use texting and things like that, you forget how to spell words
I know.
because auto spell does it for you. So the human mind is designed by God to work a certain way.
Mhm.
An artificial intelligence mind doesn't work the way the human mind works. But you need to remember how to spell. If you find yourself searching for, I mean, how do you spell this simple word? Because you've been using autocorrect,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
what
like I
happens is
said,
we get weak as humans. That
right.
goes back to the Matrix movie where humans are basically just batteries for technology.
Um, mhm. I don't know what to tell you. It's weird. It's just it's all about design, and I feel, in all honesty, it's not necessary. It's not necessary. Like I was just thinking, you sitting up there in an autonomous vehicle driving around, and you got a warrant. Who knows if they sit up there and tell that car to take you to the police station? So it's just
Right,
it's,
just like
it's
they got cars driving back to if you fall
Mhm.
behind in your payments, you
Exactly.
don't you don't need a repo guy. You fall behind in your payments, you're getting ready for work in the morning. You look out the window and your car starts up and drives.
Mhm. Right. So
your
in a
car
way,
your
that's
car starts
eliminating
up,
a whole industry of people, right?
yeah. Your car starts up and drives off and goes back to the dealer, and you get a text from the dealer saying, "Yeah, we repossessed your car."
Right. So
Car drove itself to the dealer.
no more repo man, right? So that's another person lost their job, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I think in the future, we have to stay focused on there's going to be a division in society, just like these movies have predicted. These movies coming from our subconscious have predicted. There's absolutely going to be a division in society between humanity and technology. And which side are you going to be on? Stay focused on your humanity. Stay focused on your belief in
Well,
in
I
a
would
higher
think he
power.
wouldn't have no other choice but to stay on the humanity side. Ain't no well,
Well, look at, like I was saying before. Look at children are being programmed from birth. I just recently watched a video today of a mother with her 2-year old with an iPhone playing
mm,
games,
yeah,
the 2-year old playing games on her iPhone. That's how plugged in, how early,
mm,
the indoctrination, happens when it comes to technology. But stay
yeah,
focused on your humanity, stay focused on your belief in a higher power. The Bible says, pray as if in speaking. What that means is throughout your day, having a conversation with God.
mhm.
Uh, because the
And,
future is, there's going to be a division in society for sure. Technology versus humanity. Which side are you going to be on? There's some advantages to technology when it comes to AI. Um, for a business, if you've always wanted to operate a business, you need to start poking around on Chat GPT about your business, how to do this, how to do that, how to build this website, how to build this app. AI can do all of that. So if you have a dream of something that you wanted to do, particularly when it comes to having a business. Moving forward in society, having some type of side hustle or developing a business online is integral. So start looking at, let's say you're a female, you wanted to develop a clothing franchise. Start poking around at AI and asking them how to do it, and let them walk you through it all the way, even through formulating business plans to submit to the bank.
Hmm.
So take advantage of the good aspects of technology.
True, that's very true. It does have some positive aspects. So,
Yeah, especially
well,
like go ahead.
go ahead. No, I was gonna say hello, Random. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. So yeah, we shall see.
I saw where uh, the great pastor is once again stepping away. What's I guess that would be Act 5. I'm not sure how many times he's gone through these various acts.
Mm-hmm.
But when I first popped in, go ahead. What were you going to say, Sergey?
No, I'm listening to you.
When I first popped in and discovered this area via you, I started researching different personalities because it was new to me and it was fascinating. But I actually found a video where Tasha K dropped in on Jay Wilson. Have you ever seen that video?
I probably did, but I probably didn't retain it in my memory bank.
Okay, well, she's done it a couple times. I actually found a couple videos where she dropped in on Jay Wilson. But on the last one that I saw, she dropped in and she said, "Hey, look, I'm starting my own network." She said that I'm dealing with a lot of pushback from major networks, about my content and my channel, and people are trying to blacklist me and X me out and trying to cancel my YouTube channel. So I'm taking it offline. I'm going to develop an app. I was just talking about developing apps. I'm going to develop an app. I'm going to take my content and move it over to the app. So if I end up if people are successful at destroying my platform, I'll still have my business because I've moved it over, to my own platform on my own application. And at that time, she didn't have anything like that, but now she has that. And this is important because she reached out. She's one of the few people I've seen that has beef sector history that has reached down and tried to assist. She's offered opportunities to Seven Stars, to Wiley. Um, who else has she reached out to? Someone else, but she's reached down to extend opportunities. And so what she told Mr. Wilson was, you know, get in touch with me, send people my way that maybe can produce their own movies, that want to do content, and elevate their platforms, send some people my way. And most of the episode, Jay Wilson just over talked. Can you still hear me, Sir King?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Most of the episode, Jay Wilson just over talked her the entire time. You know, I guess he was gloating about the fact that she dropped in on his platform. But my point here is that she did everything that she said she was going to do. On her app, she's streaming movies. She's brought in various content creators, from YouTube to do their content on her app. She did everything she said to do. And at the point when she mentioned it to him, she didn't have any of that in play. But people from the B sector should be looking at expanding their horizons. And she was told Jay Wilson, have some people send me some videos about what they want to do with their content. I'll give them a shot. Um, I don't know of anyone else who's reaching back other than her.
No, she's
And
probably the only one.
yeah, she seems to have a soft spot. She offered Wiley a mentorship. Like I researched all this stuff and saw this. But people should, if you want to, what do you want to do with your platform? If you have a content creator that has B sector history that's offering you opportunities, you should be running for that. You know who I think is a good candidate for that is I don't know how you feel about her, so I want to interject that, but just from how her personality is and the way she's developed her content is just Kimmy.
I thought
Really
you were gonna
people
say Fire Babe.
and
Um,
Five Babe as well. But just Kimmy and Five Babe, they would do well on her platform if they submitted their content to her. I think that she would seriously
I
consider.
I I agree. She's just got to change some of her Wendy William ways, and she'll be all right. So she'll be
Yeah, I'd like to see the next iteration. We're talking about the new B sector, right? The 2.0, the new B sector. I talked before on your platform about how the older generation all came from an entertainment perspective, right? Jay Wilson can
all right.
actually sing. Justice Kelly Love has a background in entertainment. Um, James Caldwell has a background in entertainment. All these people, Five Babe can actually sing and was on T.S. Madison show singing. Like all these people had aspirations to entertain. Uh, what's her name? The little short chick, Nicole Tyler. Same thing. There's music where you can find online. So everyone came from this entertainment perspective, right? So the new B sector, you tell me, Sir King, since you're here doing your thing every day, is there a comparison when it comes to that entertainment perspective?
Let me see. Let me think. No, it is. They can't even sing a tune, not one. So no, no. All they could do is they're very proficient in lying. That's their specialty.
And
So,
some people had already been on TV and were already well. There was a lot of interconnection there, right? So Miss Gina Queen of Talk had been on a whole bunch of reality shows. James Caldwell was on a reality show. Excuse
mhm,
me, talk shows. Those morning talk shows like um, what's his name? Jerry Springer.
mhm.
Miss Gina Quinn Talk had been in a whole bunch of talk shows. Duchess Kelly Love actually, has worked on music for major entertainers and did the jingles. Jim Caldwell was actually on a real reality show. Where's the similarity for what you see now?
Nowhere. They don't do that. It's that's what I'm saying. Like y'all not even talented. Like y'all don't even know what talent is. Like y'all think y'all deserve respect. You don't have no talent to deserve it. Like I think you cursing out people, yelling, screaming, talking down to the bowels of their soul is some form of oh you doing the damn thing.
Hmm.
No, it's not. It's not. Oh, I said the old B something they used to put on costumes. They used to make skits. They used to do so much. Not these lazy people. They just don't. They just sit up here and concoct a challenge every week to scam people. So how you ever heard of a drinking contest where the people gotta pay the drinker and still contribute for the prize? What is that? Like if you a
Hmm.
drinker, come with your own alcohol that you know is gonna get you crunk, and then you win. The people contribute to the prize. Like I was like, wow, really?
Well, so when you become and you went through this as well, Sir King, when you become a popular content creator, people are going to be attracted to you for clout, right?
Mm,
And that's natural to happen. You become popular, and you have a lot of people that want to be a content creator. They're looking at it from the perspective not to entertain, but as a source of income, an easy source of income. And the B sector is probably one of there's people in the B sector that make more money than content creators at 50,000 subscribers because this is a community of retirees, right? When you talk about the subscribers, retirees, people that have expendable income.
mm,
I remember talking to a mall manager that told me that he made more money than one of the most popular malls in that area. And I was like, "You're just a little ghetto mall. I like to come here uh, because there's a place here that makes food, a Chinese shop that makes food in here that I like." But I popped into one of the men's clothing stores, and he was like, "I make more money than the men's suit shop at the other mall." And I was like, "That mall's 10 times the size of this little spot." But he was saying, "But people in this area have expendable income.
mhm.
That's powerful." Uh, and you see that happening in entertainment when it comes to hip hop music. These aren't wealthy people that are buying albums. right? There's people with a lot of expendable income. When it comes to the, your major fashion designers, most of the
Mhm.
money is from expendable income. But um,
I agree.
so I lost my train of thought.
No, you could. Well, Urban, I think I'm gonna wrap it up because I gotta get up early in the morning. But I appreciate your insight, and we gonna definitely have more conversations about this because there's a lot of plethora of stuff. Well, I mean, what you think about him saying that the people who are over here convicted of crimes, he's gonna allow them to be housed in Venezuelan jails?
Um, well, yeah, I've seen where that's happened. And to go back just before I answer that question, my main point was I'd love to see people from the beach sector elevate their content and try to get to a higher level, and possibly networking with some people that came from this area, so to close that out. But when it comes to the the administration and housing people in other countries, Bush did that. Bush
Mm,
did the whole thing. Um, I don't agree with disappearing people. It's a dangerous precedence,
mm,
right? When you just snatch people off the street and they end up in another country
mm,
uh, before anybody even knows what's happening. That's a dangerous precedence because um, in a free society, that's looking like dictatorship. That's looking like Stalin. That's
mm.
looking, a
Well,
bunch of a bunch
well,
of dictators. Go ahead.
right, but when you say you gonna only this will be the last election, that's not the sign of a dictator. So,
Yeah, 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 and just all interesting conversations. But I enjoyed popping up with you.
so
Uh,
to go just one more thing to go back to what you said about oh, it'd be great. When people show you who they are, believe them, right? And I can see maybe one person being maybe scooped up by the world of entertainment, right? But
mm,
I'll be hesitant if I was them to reach down and try to pull somebody up with you unless you really know them, because what this area shows you is that people have a strong inkling for jealousy and will do anything maybe to tear you down in the process if you've elevated yourself up. So I know I know that's happens in the entertainment industry, but these people have an innate ability to try to present things a certain way to ruin whatever opportunity that may be present. So um,
yeah, that goes along with when you. So I think you discovered this, okay, when you were doing your chaos panels. It's the energy that you attract.
yeah,
Energy, energy attracts different types of energy. So right. So what kind of energy are you putting out? Because whatever that energy is that you're putting out, if you're putting yourself in quotation marks on some type of time,
right.
right? And that energy, I can guarantee you, this is real life. The energy that you put out will come back to you a million times. So if it's positive, it's going to come back that way. If it's negative, if it's evil, if it's destructive, be prepared for destruction to come your way, and that never fails.
I agree.
Well, I
I
always
agree.
enjoy popping in on you, chit chatting with you. Uh, Arsenio Hall of YouTube.
We'll see about that one. Thanks.
And to everyone in the chat, always a pleasure dropping in on you guys. All right, Sir King.
All right, Urban. Thank you for coming. We appreciate having you.
All right, so chat again soon. Ciao.
All right, sounds good. All right, y'all. That's the one and only Urban Critic. We had a very good conversation about a plethora of things. Hopefully, you guys learned some things that we were speaking about. So yeah, AI. Be careful, y'all. And then the man in the White House. Be careful, y'all, because he not playing by the book we used to reading. You know, he playing by a totally different book. That who knows what the next chapter will be. But like I always say, take care of your health. Please stay in great faith and pray. Stock up and just try to be the change you want to see in the world and leave a good positive legacy. All right. Thank you to my wonderful moderators, and I guess you could call yourselves Circeans. But I hope you guys have a good weekend. And before y'all leave, please thumbs up the live. If you want to, feel free to send a gesture of dollar sign Circean Crown. Once again, thank you to Urban Critic for hitting the link and sharing his insights. To that person, what's their name? Pay the Bell. I don't know what's going on with that avatar, but that's why I didn't highlight your stuff. I don't know if you run a game or whatever. But with that being said, I'm out of here, y'all. Y'all take care. Have a great one. Have a great weekend. Make sure y'all relax and be safe. All right. I will talk to y'all soon. And please watch the news. Please watch the news more than you listen to Jay Wilson. It probably will save your life. Bye, y'all.
Sir King.
Canvas.
Sir King. Sir King. Sir King. Sir King.
All right. Bye, y'all. Take care.